Elevate your new week. Fuel your success. SSM and Elevate your new week. Fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update, Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis, and the most attention-grabbing lines, Deciphering World Event.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Yes, Between the Lines, 28th April 2025. I'm Godwin Iwejuwa. I'm stepping in the studio with my colleagues and brothers, friends. Right here with me is Ogbeni Olayinka Raji from Lagos, Nigeria. Yinka Raji, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Monday Between the Lines on SSM.
It's good to see you, Raji. I know you were enjoying the site at the Vatican on Saturday. I know you were looking at what was happening, and you saw orderliness. Is that not so? You saw things done, precisely, no hassle like we will sometimes do when it's African. What do you say, Raji? What do you say about that?
No. I do not think that you should denigrate Africa. Please. Yes.
Okay.
So let's move on to something else. Please do not denigrate Africans. Yes. Thank you.
No, because I know how we do. Okay, let's leave that. Anyway, joining us from Canada, Toronto, Canada, is our man George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. You're welcome to Between the Lines.
Well, thank you so much, my Godwin Iwejuwa and Olayinka Raji. Viewers from around the world, welcome to Between the Line on Monday, where we'll give you updates about things trending around the world.
You're welcome. Gentlemen, it's good to have you guys here. George, let's start with you. Since you're probably just coming from that end, how is the election in Canada going? We know millions of Canadians are heading to the polls today, and it's a snap election, like they said. Tell us, George, what's happening?
Well, it's a little quiet. It's a little quiet, and it's not... you won't see so many, people crowded, because what they have done is to make sure that wherever you are living, there is a poll station close to you, so you don't have to go too far, to vote. It's very quiet. The process is amazing. It's simple, straightforward process, and we are just hoping that eventually most countries will enjoy the ideological purity of the political system of democracy, and that's what we are looking for, in our countries. We are growing, we are getting better, in what they call the third world countries. But here, the process is very simple and straightforward, and it was an amazing, incredible thing. So the two front runners is Marconi and Polyev, and then we saw the other parties also, they are there. But so far, the conservative and the liberals are just almost neck and neck. A few points, the Marcon is leading Polyev, maybe about 3 or 4 points, so hopefully, one of the best will come out as a winner this time.
Thank you for that update. One of the best will come out as a leader. George, but what will be new? What reforms are we expected to see? This morning we had Donald Trump say, Canadians, he urges you to all make your country, the Canada, the 51st state in the United States. He said he issued that statement this morning, George. So what are we expected to see in reforms, in policies, and what you have?
What Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand is the
Mm-hmm.
patriotic attitude of Canadians. Canadians don't play. They're not like U.S. We share borders, but the ideological differences is quite vast. When it comes to patriotism, Canadians are very, very patriotic. They love the country and they want the best for themselves. Donald Trump is I don't know how to describe what he does, but it seems like maybe he's trying to, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to express it, publicly, what we believe that he's experiencing right now. So maybe some psychological issues. There has been a lot of news about his mental capacity and all that kind of stuff. So for him, as he's not doing very well when it comes to the United States of America as a leader. Why would Canada join them? Because I just came back from the U.S. and I just experienced a lot of suffering from the people there. The tariff situation is going so badly for him. Many countries, and then he makes promises and backs off. So, nobody trusts him anymore because what we are looking at, regarding that, the Canadians are looking at the promises he made. The war in Ukraine and Russia will stop the first day. Now we are in his 100 days. Nothing has happened. And he comes out and say, oh, I was only joking. No, you're not joking, my brother. Mr. President of the United States, you're not joking. You're not able to fulfill the promises you've made. So that's where we stand right now as it is.
That's where we stand right now as it is. From Africa, Raji, how do you see the what do we expect from this Canadian election? What do you think could happen?
I don't think Africa has been featuring so strongly on the Canadian radar. So I don't see where there will be any difference in the policies that have been on for time. But I'm interested in Trump's proposal to them, and I think maybe Trump is suffering from male menopause, and therefore he's likely to talk a lot.
Okay. Yes, viewers, we are talking the Canadian election. It happened today, and George, I think it's still going on. Is that correct? It's still going on.
It's a 12 hours marathon, actually.
Okay. So viewers, what you're seeing there are the four major candidates. We heard it's 7 million Canadians that are on the polling vote, and we hope to get the results by the end of today. So that is it, George. But also coming from Canada during the weekend was a not too pleasant news. It was really heartbroken. A lot of us were not happy with what we saw. Let's see this clip, then we'll continue. Let's see this clip, then we'll continue.
Smile! Smile, you fuck! I'm sorry. Smile! What you fucking say? What the fuck? Sorry, you.
Yeah, what you're seeing there actually
what we just saw there.
Yeah, it's a tragedy struck Vancouver as a black SUV plowed into a crowd at a Filipino Canadian street festival. They killed 11 and over 20 others are injured. The driver is a 30-year-old Vancouver man with a history of mental health issues, and he's currently in custody right now. So police said that the number of casualties could rise. And the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and the local officials have called it one of the darkest days in the city's history. So this is what we are experiencing here. It is very sad.
It is very sad indeed. George, people are going crazy now. Do you think that those numbers will increase? It says 11 people so far. Do you think there could be more from the injured that might succumb?
Yes, one of the police captain in that area was actually suggesting that it is very possible because of the casualties and those that were injured, who knows, by God's grace, none will succumb to their injuries. But that is what they are saying, that we're keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully the number of deaths will not increase.
Hopefully, number of deaths will not increase. Viewers, Raji, when you see things like this, we see that terrorism and wild behavior is not limited to Africa. I mean, you will say, why will this happen in a country like Canada? Raji, what will you say about this Vancouver festival that was
First, my
disrupted?
condolences to the people who lost, the families of who lost their lives in that tragic incident. I could hear him on the background saying that I'm sorry, but a gruesome deed has been done. Yeah. My condolences to the families of those who lost their ones.
George, is it a targeted thing? I mean, these people, Filipinos, having their block party, having their nice time. I mean, the weather is changing a little. People want to come out, and somebody decides to do this. Is it like a plan?
When it comes to mental health issues, it is very difficult to determine. In our country, in most African countries, they will see somebody who is going through mental health issues, and we'll call them madmen, and none of them will go and start driving a vehicle or whatever the case might be. But here, what happens is constitutionally, a lot of them are protected, and sometimes they do things because they don't want to be discriminated against, and that's one of the major problems that we have in situations like this. They say that he have a history of mental health issues, which means that he's been suffering with this situation for a long time. Why he will just be able to grab a vehicle and start driving it is another issue. Who knows who is speaking to him inside of him? Who knows who told him to go and drive the car? Because with them, it's up, they hear voices. And sometimes when they hear voices, they obey those voices. But in Africa, we call it demonic influence. And that's exactly what it is. Whether you can paint the picture all you want to, this is it's a demonic influence. Influence over their lives. That's what it is.
Terrible. Viewers, we are talking about
I want to echo Olayinka Raji's condolences to those that lost their loved ones.
Okay. Thank you, George. So, viewers, we're talking about the Vancouver festival that was disrupted with a young man, a 30-year-old man, rammed through the crowd, injured many, killing many. And we don't want to show the videos here. Some of those videos are too gruesome to put out, but it's hurting to see such things. Raji, do you think that life could be having more of such things? I mean, this never used to happen back in the days. I mean, it's a new thing now. People will take cars. Germany, it's always happening in Germany. Happens in Austria. In most parts of Europe, Spain. So, Raji, is this something we'll be seeing more often now, you think?
It is not first. I hope that it's not first a terrorist attack or a targeted or racial attack. A similar incident happened in Gombe, in Nigeria, during the Easter holidays, when a truck drove through a lot of an Easter procession. I also pray that it is not a religious attack, because the Christians in most of our northern states have been under a lot of serious persecution in the last few years.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for that, and our viewers are here listening. So you are tuned in to Monday news starter SSM Between the Lines. Gentlemen, let's move on to some other stories. But before we go on to a wrap up of what happened at the Vatican. George, did you follow the Vatican, the final laying to rest of the Pope?
I did follow. Go ahead.
Yes, let's see. I think there should be a clip on that. Let's see that.
With the encouragement for everyone to offer each other a sign of peace at this moment of communion, all those here in the congregation and around the world joining in this moment of togetherness at the heart of this funeral service have the chance to shake hands with one another, whomsoever they are. The choir now sings the Agnus Dei. Behold the Lamb of God. Behold him who takes away the sins of the world.
Okay, short clip there. Anyway, that was it. That was what was happening right not too far from me, the Vatican. And we saw the United States president, we saw Zelensky. One important thing about that event was Ukraine president and Trump were able to sit down and also discuss. Let me start with Raji. Raji, Pope has been laid to rest. What happens next?
Well, we await the selection of the next Pope, hopefully a black Pope. Hopefully a black Pope. In the last 1,500 years, there have not been a black Pope. Popes have been coming from Europe, mainly Italy, and a sprinkle from Latin America. But we hope that this time there'll be a black Pope. If that becomes possible, yes.
We hope that there'll be a black Pope. Georgie, the world leaders used the opportunity to reacquaint with their relationship, and we saw Trump and Zelensky. And after that day, Trump said, "It looks like there is something good coming out from the Ukraine-Russia thing." What do you think could be coming out? What do we expect to see from all of this?
What we see, President Trump is a man that talks. So and what we are realizing recently, that talk is cheap. Just because you sound positive or sound make promises doesn't mean that it's that easy to come around. Like he said before, he made a promise that on his first day in office that Russia and Ukraine war will end. 100 days after, it's not happened. And that's actually one of the things that stood out for me was everybody was instructed, all the invitees were instructed on the type of outfit they're going to wear.
Yes.
And that is to mourn the Pope. Everybody wore black, with the exception of Trump, who decided to wear blue tie and blue blue suit. And evidently they captured him sleeping, in that particular moment. But anyway, to make bring a lighter note to the whole entire thing. It was a good gathering, actually.
Yes.
It was very, very good. We saw that many Nigerians left our country, senators and all that kind of stuff to go there, and all in the name of mourning the Pope, while, thousands or hundreds are dying in the Middle Belt in Nigeria. And we haven't seen, the brake light of the government in stopping that, those killings in Nigeria. So it's just so, despicable and deplorable to think about, where our priorities lie, but anyway, as it stands so far, thankfully, hopefully, there might be back the support, about America supporting Ukraine. But what we saw also that, which I believe that we're going to talk about later, some news that is coming out of Russia about ceasefire.
Yes, the ceasefire. Trump now has said Kiev and all the regions must adhere to the ceasefire. Raji, it's now on Putin's hands to really enforce the agreement. Do you think ceasefire, because they will declare ceasefire, the people will go behind and still be striking and killing and all that? Raji, do you think it will stay this time?
Yeah, I'm sure. Putin is ready for a ceasefire.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm sure he will fulfill his promise about the ceasefire, and will respect the ceasefire.
So we should expect a ceasefire.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
He
one of the
said,
one of the
huh?
questions, there's a question. I mean, he's promising a temporary ceasefire for 3 days from May 8th to May 11th. And this is actually aligning with World War II victory celebration. But the question is, how are we sure that this is going to happen? The ceasefire that, more than 20 times ceasefire has been discussed, but each time there is a violation, either from Ukraine or from Russia. And I believe that most of the time is from Russia. There's a ceasefire that was ongoing when Russia was actually intensifying the attack. So I'm not quite sure, if it's a deliberate attempt, to get the Ukraine people to hands down, and then they will start bombing again. But let us see and hope that this particular 3 day ceasefire will take place, to honor the World War II victory celebration. So we are hoping that it will happen.
Yes, we are hoping that it will happen. Before we continue, let's just do a small news flash. There's strong power outage strike in Spain. Spain and Portugal in Europe, Western Europe are experiencing very strong power strike. It says it's disrupting travels. People are jammed up at the airport because things are not flowing up again. When there's this power outage, it affects systems and everything. So, online videos showing that a lot of people are stuck at the airports. Huge power outage in Spain and Portugal. That's news flash that has come in. Okay,
They should.
gentlemen.
They,
Mhm.
sorry, they should learn resilience from Nigeria. We can live through 1 month of no power and still behave normal.
They should learn resilience from Nigeria. Gentlemen, before we go on the short break, let's talk about something that's also brewing before we go on break. Um, we know all that is happening behind the scene. Raji, you will give us more on this. Some days ago, um, Peter Obi, the LP presidential candidate, went to United States. He addressed group of students and people in a particular place. I think that was John Hopkins University, and he made some utterances. Now, some of the things he said are true anyway, but this morning, the Lagos State Governor, Sanwo-Olu, has slammed P2B for making those comments in the United States. He says P2B lacks the moral right to talk about poverty because he went to talk about poverty. Now, Raji, why anytime somebody comes abroad to talk about our condition in Africa, there's a backlash. They criticize him. They say things. People will say, "Why did you say that? Why are you marketing us? Why are you putting a bad image?" But the facts are there. Tell us, Raj, what do you know about P2B's comments?
I think our leaders, both politicians and non-politicians, should learn when they should stop playing politics. We play politics too much. I'm sure by now Peter Obi should be able to restrain his mouth and be able to be much more of a leader than just somebody who is campaigning for an office that has been taken over already. I think he mentioned that there are not enough universities in Nigeria, but I think that there are too many universities in Nigeria. There's almost a university in every local government. There should be more technical colleges that will teach people skills than university that will just give you a certificate for you to go looking for a job. I'll give an example of the case with the Black American Society in the US. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, there was stability in the homes of almost more than 99% of blacks, because the man in the house was the man of the house, was the man in the house. The man in the house had a skill with which he brought in food to the home. But then a lot of black Americans were persuaded to go to college to learn to be professor of something or doctor of something or the other without any skills. And they come out and there are no skill sets, and there's no food on the table, and there's fracas in the home, and the woman too has to go out and look for a job, and then there's instability in the home. I think we should look at that very critically. In the old Western region, a lot of technical colleges were set up to produce artisans that to support university qualified engineers, because they all have different aspects of the profession to take care of. We can't all have university graduates; they'll be useless. And there are already a lot of them who come out of the university and think that there should be a job ready for them. There are no jobs.
Yes, Raji, so you're saying that what Peter Obi said, his comments, his address at Johns Hopkins University was out of context. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not so as out of context. I said he should learn to restrain his tongue, because campaign is over. He's now a leader. He's not a leader. So when he's talking, he should not be too critical of the government. We all know how messed up our government is. But as you talk about the mess up, please provide solutions.
Okay, George, what will you say? Now, one of the things Sanwo-Olu accused Peter of is, he said Peter's during his tenure in governance, his state also grew in poverty. I don't know where they are getting their numbers. George, what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, what I'm thinking is, it's all politics, when you think about it. American presidents, they've gone to many other countries to speak, on universities. Obama does that a lot. And he states, he unequivocally will talk about United States and the conditions of the United States. Peter Obi is a very well-renowned individual when it comes to, economy and, finances. So he was in Johns Hopkins and he was talking about the state of affairs in Nigeria. He never lied, and nobody can come and accuse him that what he said is lies. But the only thing is, simultaneously, someone who was in Harvard University, trying to invite other, I think it's Harvard or some other university, trying to talk about businesses in Nigeria, in Lagos State, and all that kind of stuff. So it was almost like an opposition to what Peter Obi was really saying. The fact of the matter is that, you can't understate what is going on in our country. Recently you saw what, the World Bank is saying, that in 2027, Nigeria will even, go down more in poverty. These are statistical analysis, and it's based on decision that has been made by the current government. So now the question is, are we going to go out there and paint a different picture of the reality on ground? Or are we just, because it's, think about it. If we are
what the hell are we doing outside talking about our country?
One second.
What are we doing outside?
Oh, excuse me.
Please, let's sit down. How many foreigners come to Nigeria?
One second, please. One second. Sanwo-Olu was in the United States, trying to invite businesses. Peter Obi is known to travel around the world. He talks to university students, and he uses certain analysis about what is going on in Nigeria to teach how government can change certain narrative. He talks about it in Nigeria. He's not the only one talking about it outside of the country. So what we are seeing is that what we are saying is, if what Peter Obi is saying are lies, then we can caution him and say, please stop lying. But what he's saying is the truth. And not only that, when someone who was talking about quoting the statistical analysis of his government, I don't know where they're getting it from, because these days there is what you call alternative truth. people can go and dig out something and make it, the truth when it's alternative truth. The fact was, when you start thinking really critically, the very best governors that ever existed in Nigeria, Peter Obi should be one of them, if truth be told. But yet, maybe he can change his conversation a little bit, or maybe he needs to start, painting pictures and telling white lies, calling black white and white black. If that is the case, maybe we should, try to instruct him to do so. But as for what he was doing, he was teaching and he was analyzing the current government and their, failures when it comes to from the very beginning up until today. Nobody can tell you that anybody is smiling in Nigeria today based on when it comes to
George, I agree with you entirely, especially about the alternative truth. Because one man's truth is another man's alternative truth.
Okay. All right, viewers, let's go on a small break. These are intelligent people here. You don't want to go. All right. So we'll be back. Let's go on a small break.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle, inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment, a better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story magazine. Get Schengen Story magazine full editions.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Yes, George, Raji, you're welcome. Viewers, you're welcome back to the second segment of Between the Lines. Today, the 28th of April, 2025. Yeah, Raji, I think that is enough of that comment between Obi and Sanwo-Olu. But there's something I want to observe. Anytime somebody says something about our Africa and the state of things, yes, we all. Do you know that all African diasporans wish the best for Africa? We want the best. I mean, in every aspect, economy, politics, governance, social life, everything. But you see, most times we're not seeing it, and we just have to say it the way it is. George, I'm just making some last observation on the Sanwo-Olu P2B talk. Yes, I'm saying that Africans in diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora, long to see a better country, a better Africa, in every aspect, education, economy, politics, everything. But most times we're not getting it. And we just have to say things the way it is. We'll be living in fool's paradise if something is happening the other way and we're saying something else outside. I mean, we'll be deceiving ourselves. That's what I say about this.
So I see your point. You are talking out of arrogance, because even those of us in Nigeria, we are desirous of seeing a better country, and we are here. We refuse to leave because we want to insist that there must be a better country. Yeah. So it's not as if it's only those in diaspora who are concerned. We are concerned. I have no other country. My children are out of the country. I don't want them to be out of the country. I want them back in this country so that they can contribute to the progress of this country. That's why I refuse to leave this country. I will stay here, and I want to make sure that they have reason to come back, so that because we will fight for the betterment of this country.
Who will fight for the betterment of the country? Okay, thank you very much for understanding that. Anyway, putting more stories out. There is this one that Braji said is like an irrelevant thing, but I think every topic matters, and that is our Senator Natasha that wrote a very, very mockery of sarcastical letter of apology to the Senate president, and but it went viral. I mean, it's crazy. Let me read a line on that note. Then we guys, you just talk about it. It says, "Please," this is the Senator Natasha writing. He said, "Please," she's referring out to the president. He said, "Find it in your magnanimous heart, somewhere buried deep between layers of entitlement, to forgive this stubborn woman who mistakenly believed that her seat in the Senate was earned through election and not erection. I remain yours in eternal resistance." Senator Natasha, gentlemen, get it funny now. Yeah, go ahead, Raji.
I'm so happy that, you see, I've gone to a point where I don't take myself too seriously, because anybody who reads that letter and does not find the depth of intelligence and humor in that letter must be missing something in life. Don't take yourself too seriously, and life is not that serious. I love that letter. In fact, if it were in an English, if you are in an English examination, and you were supposed, she wrote that letter, she probably would get 110 over 110% for such crafted. I would like to meet the person who wrote it for her. That's if she didn't write it herself.
You know, she's a lawyer. Remember, she's a lawyer, and
yes, there's a lot of depth and intelligence in that letter.
Now, George, this is interesting, but anyway, it is taken that is a sarcastical expression. It's not, nobody's taking it serious. George, go ahead.
She's become a thorn in the flesh of, to the government, a thorn in the flesh to Akpabio. A serious thorn in the flesh. And when the case seemed like nothing is happening again, this type of this type of what they call it, the satirical apology.
Satirical, yes.
Satirical apology is what actually bringing the case. It's almost like you heat up gold, the dross will come on top again. The impurities will come on top, and this is what she's doing. Trying to tell the world, I'm not going down. And even as much as the case is in the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, why they're determining what is going on. She's just wanting to make sure to let the public know, I'm not being suppressed. I cannot be stopped. I will pursue my case until it gets to where I was supposed to get a fair justice. But I know it sounds like a joke, but if you were to be the subject to the matter, like Akpabio himself, believe me, this is a dagger right in his chest. Because when he reads this and everything else, believe me, I don't think he will be happy at all. So, even every single individual that is dealing with this situation, this shows you that foreign blood that we are talking about. So if it was a local Nigerian woman, they would have backed off a long time ago. They would have given him a bullion, worth of gifts, and then, the whole situation would have died. But as it stands right now, it's actually a way to sanitize the governance that we have in Nigeria. Women are no longer subjects that like they used to be in the olden days. Women as intelligent as men. That male domineering attitude that we've experienced and we have exhibited for a long time it should no longer be the same. We have to come to 2025 and, give an equal footing to everybody. Many countries are being led by women, and they're doing wonderful. So to have only 3 or 4, senators in Nigeria, and some of them that are there are subjected to a lot of, situations that is unheard of, or they can even come out to talk about it. It's unacceptable. So I think we need to, upgrade ourselves to enjoy that, what I call the ideological purity of democracy in our country. We need to do that. It's very, very important.
Ideological purity of democracy.
The woman is brilliant, very, very intelligent. That's why she's been dribbling them. They didn't want her to come to us and show this street. She came in by helicopter. She's far more intelligent than they are.
She's a thorn in their flesh. She's a real thorn in their flesh.
Yeah. So, but the letter is like George said, a satirical expression. It's not really meant to bring her back. She was almost like making a mockery of the man again.
Mockery of them, exactly.
Over that sexual harassment allegation. Viewers, so you're watching and listening to us talking about what's happening in our Senate between the suspended lawmaker representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaga, and the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Gentlemen, some women didn't see with her. Do you know? Or the women even in the house, those other ones in the house, I think there are just few of them. They weren't really on her side in all of this. I don't know. So it comes to, we say about women. Women also not unitedly standing together to fight things.
Petty jealousies. Petty jealousy.
Okay. No, the fact is this. You can take somebody out of Egypt, but to take Egypt out of them becomes a problem because they're used to the way of Egypt. And that's one of the major problems you're seeing. Some of them have gone through the process of being acclimatized to the way things are in Nigeria. They're used to it. They're not used to, being treated as an equal when it comes to issues, concerning the country or issues concerning the family. But what you're seeing here is to them, it's almost like, who are you to come and change the narratives the way we ought to be treated?
George,
that's exactly what the point is.
That was what I saw. That was what I saw. There was this senator that was speaking, a female, and I could read that in her lips that she's, who is this girl that is coming to change the status quo? George, go ahead.
To them, it's like, let the sleeping dog lie. They don't want to trouble the water. And somebody is coming to do that, to trouble the water among them in order to, to reinstitute the equality program of male and female in offices. And that's exactly what is happening here. So most of them that are used to it, most of them, whether they have succumb to some of the pressure that is happening there or not, we don't know. We cannot judge. But the fact of the matter is, this woman has come. She came to change the narrative, to change the image of how things ought to be. And she's being fought both by male and some of the females that are used to it. And that's exactly what it is.
George, you really said this well. So viewers, that's what's happening. We saw that whole letter yesterday. It was funny, directed to the Senate President. She will give the respect. She started with dear distinguished Senate President Godswill Akpabio. He said with deep sarcasm and utmost theatrical regret that I tender this apology to the grievous crime of possessing dignity and self-respect in your most exalted presence. Can you imagine these words? These are strong words she's throwing out there.
Let me just say this. I was just following the dark man. What do you call him again? The dark man.
Very dark man.
Very dark man. Very dark man. I saw a video that he posted where somebody wrote to him that he is supposed to. He's supposed to stop mocking, the senator and some of these people, and then he must tender an apology. So when he came out, he followed the same way, and he was apologizing to the people in central Nigeria, Jos Plateau, Borno State, and all the rest of them. He apologized to the people that are dying of hunger in Nigeria because of the state of the economy. He apologized to a lot. So it's the same tone that he's using, say, well, if you think I'm going to be apologizing for telling the truth, you can think again, because I will never apologize. So, but the thing is this, governance is not an easy thing. It's easier said than done when you're sitting on the other side. But the fact of the matter is, a great man, a great leader is one that surrounds himself with men of intelligence, men of integrity, men of know-how, who can take every aspect of their own commission and change the narratives in a country. When everybody is bringing their best because you put the best in there, then that all of a sudden you will begin to see changes take place. And when each one looks good, everybody looks good. But what you're seeing right now is only a handful of, the government officials are doing well. I can give it
George,
I can mention a few of them.
George, you're speaking so there's viewer with us that's chatting. Martina Oninuwa. Martina Oninuwa, I hope I pronounced that well. He says, George, very true. What you're saying matters. And I think, Georgia, there's something that we're really not doing well. There should have been that real push with what this woman has started, so that we just change this whole political status quo in our country, where some people lord it over us. Some people are emperor. They call some people emperor. Can you imagine? In a place where it's shared wealth, shared everything, and some people are head over us. They're entitled to be head. He said, Jesus is, Martina is still writing, Jesus, you have buttered my name. Okay.
You butchered Martina's name.
My name. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry for that. I think it's pronounced.
Shout out to Martina. She lives in France, actually.
Okay. Shout out to Martina. She
lives in France, yes. Shout out to you. Yeah.
Oninuwa. I'm sorry. These names are...
Stop. You're an Igbo man. Why you're butchering her name?
Say George. George. Say her name. Say her name.
Well, I'm not seeing the name here, so if I see it, I can pronounce it. Yeah, can you imagine that? Can you imagine Martina Ononiwu? Can you imagine that a Yoruba man that was born in Ghana is pronouncing this name than you from Mbise?
No.
This is is a sad situation.
I have eye problem too. I'm straining my eye.
But you're wearing your glasses. You're wearing your glasses.
Because I'm seeing W instead of N. And I'm all right, thank you very much.
Anyway, shout out to Martina. Martina is a publicist, and then she's very, very good in what she does. Yeah, shout out to you.
We hope to have you one day on the network too, Martina.
We will eventually.
Yes. Thank you, Martina. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, let's begin to wrap it up. There's a story. I don't know if you guys are following that story. The Jeffrey Epstein story. George, I know you have something about that. We all know the Jeffrey Epstein, the crime he committed, sex offender, and his girlfriend, Jensela Maxwell. Now, there's a girl that was being trafficked then. The girl at the center of the story is called Virginia Giuffre. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now she was found dead on Saturday, and is bringing up a lot of conspiracy, a lot of issues. George, what do you have on Epstein? This latest news?
Well, she's now 41 years old, and her death, is leaving a lot of questions, unanswered questions. And part of the reason why this is happening is because of the way that Jeffrey Epstein died. It was almost like a suicide type of situation too. But most of these suicide situations are questionable, especially when individuals are coming against the power that be. So we don't know. It's all our allegations. So, but this Prince Andrew was involved in that allegation also. And the scandal, though, that Prince Andrew ended up settling out of court, but he denied the whole allegation. That's Jeffrey Epstein there. Well, has the point is, in 2022 controversy, it destroyed the public image of Prince Andrew, and as a result of that, I think the family kind of put him aside, from all his royal duties. But we don't know whether this woman died out of depression or killed herself, or whether there's other things. But the case is already dead, so that's what I'm asking. Even if that is the case, why would they want to go and kill her now? So maybe she died out of depression, because most of these people that enter into this particular type of situation, a lot of time they are ostracized from the public, because they don't want to go out anymore. And sometimes they don't even have, friends anymore, maybe a close-knit people. And some of these ostracizing can actually cause depression, loneliness, and despondency. And that's part of the reason why sometimes you see them, they just decide to take their lives.
Okay, George, good one. You have the update there. Let's see this short clip by SSM.
It's not how Jeffrey died, but it's how he lived. And we need to get to the bottom of everybody who was involved with that, starting with Ghislaine Maxwell and going along the lines there. I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day, and I won't stop fighting. I will never be silenced until these people are brought to justice. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
What do you make of Prince Andrew's denial? Can you comment on that? You said you won't be silenced. He has been outspoken.
He knows what he's done, and he can attest to that.
Okay. Yes, viewers, you just saw the clip there. Now, George, she said some things. Yes, she opened up a lot, and it also affected the royal family, Andrew and the rest. Raji, do you think she committed suicide? I know you follow the story too. Do you think she committed suicide, or some hidden things were going around her?
I do not think that she committed suicide. I cannot put her death at anybody's doorstep. Is Mar-a-Lago not Trump's place? No, I just want.
Yeah, it is. Mar-a-Lago is where Trump have his, his mansion.
His place.
Yeah, where he lives.
So
and
they are all
a lot
interconnected.
But I think her own Mar-a-Lago is in Australia. She relocated to Australia, and she has a farm. She even has a farm arrangement in there somewhere in the forest.
There's only one Mar-a-Lago, and that is where Trump is.
Yeah. No, but you didn't understand what she was trying to say. That was when this story, now this video is an old clip. When
she was saying that she was recruited in Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
Yes,
that's what she's saying. So that same Mar-a-Lago is where Trump's house is. So I'm not quite sure unless.
All these people are interrelated.
Martina is saying she doesn't think so.
She doesn't think that it was a suicide. Is that what she's...
Well, yeah, because the lawyer came out this morning. Her lawyer came out this morning to say there was nothing suicidal about her. In fact, the family brought pictures of her last days where she was where they were having party outside, party, everything. So how would somebody just be in that frame of mind and all of a sudden, boom?
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Yes.
One of the things we need to understand, if we investigate or go into her background or some things that she wants to do, there is a very good possibility that she's either going to write a book and mention some names, or maybe a movie is being done and she signed a contract that will bring out some names. And believe me, these young people, you can understand that the names that were involved were huge. including the parliament, people from the Senate and from the the House of Representatives. Some governmental officials were involved.
Yes, George.
Yes,
president.
Yes. So maybe her death will be safe for those people that their names are not out yet, that might come out later. Who knows? We're just all saying we cannot put our finger on it. I cannot put her death on anybody's doorstep, like Olayinka Raji said. But what we know, if it looks pink, we call it pink. If it looks white, we call it white. But how it looks right now, it doesn't look like she died on her own accord.
Yes, and Martina is really flowing with us. Martina, listen, we appreciate you. Back to back, real time text you're doing. He says she didn't have suicidal behavior. Yeah, that's what the lawyer said. That's what the lawyer said this morning. Take note, she has this farm project, big farm in Australia, and she looks like she's living her life, you know.
She's settled, yes.
Yeah, settled. Things around her, friends. So now we have to deal with this. Also, adding to the discussion was when they asked Trump about it. Let's hear what Trump said about it.
Do you have a reaction to Virginia Guthrie's suicide in Australia? Well, it's a very sad situation, the whole thing. That whole situation is very sad, her and others. And so certainly that's a horrible thing, horrible.
It's such that the president of the United States is being asked about the suicide of somebody in Australia, and you say Trump doesn't have any connections.
Anyway, one person I know that doesn't sleep, every time he's sleeping, he's thinking about her is the Prince Andrew. I mean, we all know how the mother felt before she passed on, because the photos, remember those pictures we're putting out? Viewers, if you're still watching, these are pictures of the lady. Let me bring the one with, yeah, that's her. And her as a lead, she's showing the picture how she was when she was being recruited into that circle. And this is her and Prince Andrew, like we've seen. Now, Prince Andrew said this photo was doctored. Can you imagine? Now, what happened was when he said so, some genius, some graphic genius came out and did their job, checked through, and said, no, this photo is real. But he said they put his hands there. That's not his hands. That he sweats. That he was giving so many. Anyway,
who was it? Who was there? Was that him?
Yeah, that's him. It's him.
Okay, where was his hand?
That's his hand behind the lady, the girl.
You can't be this close to a woman and not put your hands around. You have been watched before.
So anyway, Prince Andrew said that's not his hands, that they photoshopped that hand to the lady, and so many things. And he said he doesn't even know how he wasn't in that circle. He didn't do anything like that with Epstein. He said a lot, denied everything. So George said something. George, I like what you said. You said when people are in this situation, obviously they become a target. That was your first comment, George. Is that not so? They become a target
because you know, based on the comment you just made, I cannot be silenced. That speaks volumes there, because the fact is there is a possibility that even after the death of Jeffrey Epstein, that she wants to actually continue with the conversation and the narratives about what happened. You know, and it's very, very possible that is a book deal somewhere, if it is not already written, or a movie deal somewhere, if it's if it's not already. Yes. So what we know is there might have been some information revealed secretly to some people that are involved, some dignitaries and the powers that be, that will actually want them to silence her, to make sure she doesn't continue with the pursuit of, you know, exposing the truth about what happened when she was young.
Now, Martina has written the real hard one. She said a lot of people still don't understand the back end to these things. Martina, that's it. there's so much behind what we see. The world is full of so many secret things. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up also with a small story, because it looks good when we see good things in Africa. Last night, there's this event they do called the Headies Award. George, I know you're an entertainment man, and so some of those guys that comes to you in Canada were at the award, and they all received, were appreciated, because the Afro music is going far. Somehow Africa is taking over with that genre of music. George, tell us, I had this award yesterday. Davido was there, Thames was there, Rama was there, all those your people. What will you say about the entertainment circle in Nigeria?
I mean, I can see the 17th Hades Award made a grand comeback to Nigeria with a dazzling show, at the landmark event center at Lekki. So, and it was hosted by Nancy Isime and then Ike, Osaka Dio. I don't know how to, put all those names together. I was trying to remember how to, just like you butchered Martina's name. So the night was all about celebrating the biggest names in Nigerian and African music, with thrilling performances from stars like, Queen Madi, Lax, Shallow P, Flavor, and the rest of them. So it was a grand, Casey also, So what we saw here is a grand, what you're seeing is Africa. The musical industry and the movie industry has brought limelight to Africa. And now all of a sudden, even now in regards to, when you also take a look at what is happening in the musical industry, Amapiano, just came out not too long ago and is gaining solid ground, and what you're seeing is a fusion of Amapiano and Afrobeat.
Let viewers see some glimpse, small things at that event yesterday. Let's see this.
APJ City in the house, baby. I didn't want to show my girlfriend this speech. If not, she would have changed some things. First of all, I want to give glory to God. I want to give glory to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I want to thank my mommy. Hey, I want to thank my mommy. My mommy gave birth to me at the age of 39 when there was no hope. I'm my only child. I'm a covenant child. We are not standing here, one house please. We are not standing here by our power. We are not standing here by my might. Before my mother gave birth to me, she told God that if you give me a child, I'll become a pastor. It was as of that result that I'm here. So all these things that are happening here is none of us power. It's beyond us. So let me read my speech for you. Everybody say, yeah.
That was so cool. That was so cool.
Yes, one of the recipients, he got an award. I think he's liked. People like him. One thing they said he expresses himself the way he is. He doesn't try to make up the accent or speak somehow. He speaks that raw accent, Igbo accent in his song. George, that's one of the guys. Yes. All right. Is there anything we're missing out? We're a minute, 5 minutes ahead of the time. Reggie, what's up? What do we have that we need to hear from you? What's something?
I don't want to complain that I haven't had light in February for the past 5 days. But if that,
you're like Peter B now.
I'm supposed to be on band A. No, this is a fact. I'm using a lamp now.
Peter B is telling facts when he's outside the country now, and you telling him to contain his message.
No, I am inside the country. I'm talking truth to the power.
Yeah, but the world is hearing you. The world is hearing you. I'm telling you, the whole world is hearing you, and this is reflected on your brother. I see what you. Now the government too. So please, So now we be APC, we be APC. So please contain it.
All right. Yes, Martina, thank you. Martina is laughing. She's laughing out loud. She put the sign laughing. Anyway, George, thank you, George. Let's get the feedback on tomorrow on the election.
Beautiful. Yes, we'll get
yes,
that.
let's get that feedback. And okay, don't worry. Portugal and Spain are facing same thing now. Exactly, absolutely, Martina. They are facing same thing.
Only that their
George,
own is not permanent, like Nigerian situation.
Yes,
their own is only temporary, subject to change suddenly.
Oh, guys, we're having fun here tonight with Martina around too. So we'll come back Wednesday. Raji, don't worry, the lights will soon have a permanent solution to that light, that electricity.
We have that hope. Hope springs eternal from the Nigerian breast.
Do you know what Raji was talking about earlier? What Raji was talking about earlier? If they start building, colleges where the people can go and learn skills, many Nigerians can duplicate and even have better solar panels than what we are depending on China for everything, when our own people can easily duplicate these things and even take it to another level. And this is one of the important situations that we need to understand regarding colleges that teaches skills, and it's very, very important that we do that. Part of the reason why India came out of their doldrum to where they are today is because of technology, and it's because of technical schools. And if you come to Canada, most Indians that are coming here, they come here with solid skills, from technical schools, in every area. Nigeria needs to get up in our game when it comes to teaching our over intelligent children, and some of these youths, some of these things we can stop and we can take over. When it comes to this light situation, we don't even need to depend on oil anymore. And I can guarantee you, if you teach them, they will bring another technology that will overtake the solar panels, something that is even beyond our own comprehension in the modern times.
Now, take it to the what George just said. That's it. We hope some government officials are listening to this. It's time. We need to get out of this darkness. Gentlemen, thank you. George, thank you so much. Raji, you are the man. So until we come again next Wednesday African update. But George will be giving us the update from the election. Until then, gentlemen, people, viewers, Martina, thank you. You've been with us all through, still sending her chats. Thank you so much. And those of you that weren't putting your chat but were watching, we thank you. So we see you on Wednesday, same time. Bye-bye.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in diaspora and at home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current